Alright, welcome to part 6 of making a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate overlay for tournaments. Last time we left off with... we got some scores there down the bottom. We've got a couple of changes I want to make to these, just because I thought of a couple of little things to do, so I'll do them first. The first thing was to make the scores even more transparent, so it's kind of more obvious that they are not the actual scores until they are highlighted. So like this, that's an example of being highlighted. So let's get started. So let's find out where I set the opacity of the scores. Actually, the first thing I wanted to do was get rid of all this old legacy stuff. In fact, I don't even know why this is still here. It's kind of, it's not doing anything at the moment. So we'll just get rid of this stuff, I think. Cool. Got a lot of other stuff here as well, like, what's this? So this gets displayed before each team. Okay, these are the player cams, so I want to keep them for now. Okay, let's find the scores now. Okay. I think it's actually a grid or unit that I define the opacity of everything. So I want to make, where's the opacity? Probably this to be something more like 0.3. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so now they're very low opacity. Could be slightly too low, I'm not entirely sure. Well, that's not too bad. But another thing I wanted to do was, instead of making the background color of those black, I want to make it slightly transparent as well. So background color black I have here. I've got the score and the teams, and I think the round as well is up here. Oh no, this isn't the round, what is this? No, this is the round. Might be. So I also kind of want to consolidate a few of these properties. So what I'll do is I'll copy this and move it down to this area here. And that way I can kind of compare what properties are the same. So what have we got? Position absolute. That's gotta be in both. So I'll probably make a new section that encompasses both. So I'll grab these ones as well. Cool. And obviously position absolute is going to apply to both of them, so I'll get rid of it out of the individual ones. The heights, they're going to be different. The top value, left value is also going to be different. Border top width, I think that'll be roughly the same for both. I might end up changing it later, but for now they're both the same. Same with the border top style and the background color. Now for the background color, I said I don't want it to be black anymore, but I want it to still be black for the player names, because that needs to cover up everything. But the other ones, I think I'll change slightly. So first I'll just check the other properties here. I think most of these are going to be the same, like font weight and text align. So I'll copy those two properties. And box sizing that as well. I think all the other stuff is slightly different. Cool. Now, the background color. I think I need to make a new section here. So basically everything except for the person's name is going to have a transparent background color, but the person's name is going to have a non-transparent background color. Okay, so I want to make this probably RGBA, and then it's 0 for each of the RGB values. And then for the alpha value, I think something like 0.8. I'll have to check it out to see whether it's good or not. Okay, so you can kind of see. I might actually even turn off the player name background color entirely, just so you can see how much opacity Nintendo has it in the actual game. So that looks a fair bit more transparent than 0.8. So what I might do is adjust this value. Let's see what 0.5 looks like. I'm assuming 0.5 is going to be not enough, but let's have a look. So if you have a look at the scores and the round background in the top left, yeah, that's probably a little too transparent, actually. Yeah, slightly too transparent. Something like 0.65 or something would probably be better. So let's save that. Preview again. Okay, so looks very similar. It's a bit hard to tell whether it's exactly the same or not. I'll try switching to singles and see if it looks the part here as well. Yeah, seems alright. Okay, well, to my eye at the moment, I don't have the best reference images, but 0.65 opacity seems pretty accurate. So I'm going to keep that for now, and let's see how it looks if I turn the background color back on for the players. And that'll make them black if I switch them to singles. Cool. So yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Another thing I wanted to do was to add up there with the round name, I want to add the commentary names. I'm not sure if I'll keep that, but I was looking at a little bit of the recent Big House stream, and I could kind of recognize who the commentators were, but I didn't know because it wasn't on the screen. Obviously, you can wait until like the set is over, and then they show the commentators anyway. But what if you want to know right then and there? So I'll try it, see if it looks any decent, any good, and then I'll decide whether or not I want to keep it. So I think it'll look very similar to the round. So for now, just to stop things from getting cluttered up, I'm probably going to get rid of everything on the players scene. Actually, let's see what it looks like. Let's see what the in-between games scene looks like. See, the round is still in the same position, so I probably want to keep that. But the player names are in totally different positions. So yeah, I'll probably keep the round the way it is then. Will that mean that if I want to show the commentators on the between games scene, then I would probably need to change that location as well, unless I put them in the top left next to the round name as well in this scene? I'm not quite sure about that. So for now we'll just focus on the in-game scene. And so I'll copy this stuff. Add a new section here. Probably call it Commentators. And it's actually more likely to resemble the players in the query, because I have to refer to the person's name rather than the name of the crew that they're in or something. So now if I rename this to Commentators, then that should be good. So I'll copy this query and put it everywhere that I need it. Here. And here as well, maybe? So the border color is going to be the same. I want it to be like orange. And that might change later anyway. But probably most of this is going to be the same except for the top value, and maybe the font size is going to be different for both. So probably going to define a section here that combines all of them, and also I'm going to copy it and make a section for each one individually as well. So the first one will be just the round names, and the second one will be the commentator names only. Okay, and let's see what properties I want to include in both. I think so. The top's going to be completely different for both, so I'll get rid of that. Left's going to be the same. Border color is going to be the same. Padding, yeah, most of the stuff is going to be the same except for the left value. I mean, except for the top value and the font size. Okay, so I'll probably need to adjust the top value slightly anyway. So the round name will probably be need to be like, I'll put a little note here that says it used to be 2BW, and now I'm going to change it to something like 1.5, and I'll change this one to like 2.5. Okay, what else have we got here? Anything else I need to change? Nope. Okay, one thing I need to do is stop hiding the commentators. So where is this? So I just want to completely get rid of this statement here. Oops. Save that. Now let's have a look at the preview. Looks like I already screwed something up because the round names look totally incorrect. The commentator names look more like the player names, which is also quite interesting. So there's a couple of things that I've done wrong here. Firstly, let's go down to where I've written about the commentators. Actually, what I'll do very first is I'll find where I've talked about the commentators previously. Okay. So this is all gonna be the commentators scene specifically, I think. So I want to grab data scene equals commentators. And put that in front of all of the old things that I did. Wow, that was actually like I knew how to type with this keyboard for once. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, nope. I'm trying to add two cursors here, but for some reason I'm failing at doing so. There we go, finally. Boom! Okay, so now that I've defined the commentators only, yeah, I've set the scene specifically there. Now, what else have we got? Okay, so one thing that I've done wrong here is that I've been styling both commentator names instead of just both commentators simultaneously. So I'll get rid of anywhere that I say this. Here as well. Okay, let's see if that fixed anything. Okay, so now the commentators are in the right position, right underneath the round name, but a slight problem is that the border color isn't showing up properly, neither is the clipping mask or anything, so I think that's pretty obvious. As soon as I open it up, we have an extra comma there that shouldn't be there. So let's see if that fixed anything or everything. There we go, that is now fixed. So I'm wondering whether to put the commentators side by side or whether to put them on top of each other like they are now. I originally thought of doing them side by side, so I'm probably going to stick with that. And I'm going to make the font size way smaller. So here is the commentators. Let's turn on the font size property and let's make it like 0.75 rem. Cool. Also what I want to do is add an extra little thing here that tells the commentators to go side by side. So now I have to grab the commentators' names specifically. And one thing I forgot about is that the crew abbreviation is not included in the person's name. So we're gonna run into slight problems with that later, but we'll just skip over those problems for now. So for each commentator's name, I want to go display inline block. And that should hopefully make them appear side by side. Let's have a look. Didn't change anything, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure I set the font size as well, which there's an extra comma there. Good thing I got rid of that. Now let's go. Okay, so the font size is now changed. The top value has also gone up. Let me first change it back to doubles because that's got a lighter background. Okay. So why did the top value go further up? So I'm probably going to now go to inspect element over in the browser just so I can adjust things more easily. So let's inspect the commentator names. What have we got here? Okay, so it should be set to inline block, which it is not. But that's because I'm only doing that for each. Okay, I see what's going on here potentially. So if I go back to the code, I'm referring to the commentator names specifically, rather than just each individual commentator, which is setting it to block. So let's save that. Let's go preview. Oh, it's the comma. It's the darned comma. Okay, now, hopefully, there we go. See, the commentators, they're side by side, so that's a slight problem, but nothing I can't fix. They're right next to each other and it's overtaking the round names. So what I will do is I'll switch back to singles over here in the browser. Singles. And that way I get this little box image. And so I know where I can position the commentators or not. So the top is currently 2.5%. If I increase that to 3, that could be roughly pretty good. Other thing I didn't do was refresh, because the commentators, they're on top of each other again. Okay, so let's inspect once again. I think 3.5 could be okay regardless, but I might have a little more room to play with now that they're side by side. They're taking up a lot of room though. So there's 3.5. I probably want to do something more like 4. 4.2. Yeah, that seems alright. So if I copy this top value here, where we got the top value over in the code. Here we are. So we've got 4.2 now instead. If we refresh, it should be all good. Okay. So let's have a look at the preview. So the commentator names are still right next to each other. That's probably a bit too much padding on the left hand side. I want the commentator names to start pretty close to the very edge. So what I'm going to do to fix that is, instead of having the padding be in both, I'm going to move the padding for the round names down to here, and I'm going to add a new section for padding for the commentators specifically. Now I think I want to have padding right be the same, but I want padding left to be basically non-existent. And I think I also want to add some padding to each individual commentator to separate them apart. So I think I want to go padding left and set it to something like maybe 3. And let's have a look at the preview now. Okay, so the commentators have been separated. There's still probably too much padding on the right of the second commentator. So let's fix that as well. Okay, so the space between them is also a little too big, so let's change that, and let's also make this a little smaller as well, something like 4. So let's see how that looks now. Alright, so that's looking slightly better. I might add a bit of padding on the left also reduce the amount of padding between the two, so I'll make this like 1.5, and then on the very left of the commentators element itself I'll probably add something like 1, or should I make it 2.5? Let's try 2.5. Okay, so the distance between the two commentators, I don't know if it's possibly too close now. But this is also too far away from the edge. So let's adjust those values slightly. Let's go back to the preview. Alright, that's looking slightly better. Actually, I could probably make them the same now. Let's see if that looks okay. Oh, I get it now, because it's doubling. So the distance between the two commentators and the left of the screen is double. So I can actually make the distance on the left smaller rather than bigger. And it'll still be bigger total. It's probably a bit too much still. So let's go maybe 0.8. Preview. Man, I could keep pushing this further and further. I could probably also use inspect element to make things easier, but we've gone this far already. And how does that look? That looks pretty decent. I could go lower. 0.3 preview. Alright, I don't know if I go any lower than that. So this is looking okay now. Let's have a look, see what it looks like in a brighter background image, which is the doubles image. Alright, I could see that working potentially, especially if the round name was longer. So let's try a longer round name here. Winners round 1. See, now it's roughly the same distance as the commentators. So that's looking okay. I don't think the commentators have a transition yet, so we should probably do that as well. So if I would transition to another scene, the commentators don't do anything. So let's change that. Okay, so transitions are down the bottom. So I probably want to do the same transition for both the round and the commentators. So where is that? Here we are. So for data scene equals game specifically, I want to add for the commentators. Yeah, I've already got it written here. Alright, cool, that should hopefully be enough to make the transitions work now. Let's check out the preview. Okay, so let's change to a different scene. So it looks like they animate out, but not in. That's probably because I copy and pasted it without editing. Oh, what's going on? I'm dropping mad frames. Okay, now we're back up to normal. That was interesting. Let's edit this here. That should be transition in instead of out. So now when I save that, go to preview again. Now when I change scenes... Man, what's going on with my internet? Okay, the commentators go in and out with the rounds, which is what I wanted. I might also... I'm thinking of adding a delay between the commentators and the round, just so it looks more dynamic. Let's just see what it looks like or whether it works. So let's go to here. What have I got? So I probably want to copy this, make a new section for it, to refer to the commentators only. Let's get rid of that. Copy this for the transition out as well, and let's remember to change it to out instead of just leaving it like before. Okay, and now let's add a delay maybe. So if I put another number here, that'll be the delay for the animation. So let's see if that works. That did nothing. Probably because I didn't do this properly. Firstly, I forgot to remove this, and secondly, I forgot to change the transition name here, like that. Okay, should this work now? No, I left the wrong thing in. I deleted the wrong thing. I need to copy this in particular. Nice one. Man, multiple cursors seem to screw things up more than they make them convenient. Okay, now, hopefully, this should be all good. Okay, so it kind of works. Not very well at all. So an initial problem is that I think I had this problem with my old overlay as well, is then when it transitions in, it starts in the end position, and then it cuts out, and then it animates when there's a delay. So it's going to be there straight away, and then it's going to animate in. So proof of concept for now. I'll probably end up fixing that later as well. So let's have a look at the code here. Let's probably just I'll just probably comment this out for now. Same with this, and I'll just add it to the ordinary transition until I figure out how to properly work with the transition delays. Man, what is going on with my internet? Is it the encoding or my internet? I don't know. Have I got too much going on at once? My computer, it's not having a good time. Okay, that's my... The frames keep dropping. What is happening with my internet? Okay, I'm just gonna have to deal with it for now. So the transition is back to normal. Okay, now it might be worth moving on to a different scene. So we got the commentary scene here. It's looking pretty bare bones at the moment, I would say. So let's fix that. Let's make it look slightly better. Slightly more fitting with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So what I might do first is add maybe a reference image for the commentary scene specifically. So what I'll do is I'll copy this. And I'll put... What is happening with my internet? Please stop dropping frames! It's distracting. Okay, let's remove commentators here. And yeah, this is good. And I can just add a different scene for when it is commentators and make it the URL of the image. I'm actually just going to be cheeky and go into the browser here, and I'm gonna... God, my computer is not happy right now. I'm going to find the URL of this image. Yeah, my computer is not happy. What is happening? This wasn't happening in any of the previous streams. So it looks like the URL is written here. So I think it should be let's just grab that. And then copy this again. Get the image URL. Alright, so hopefully that will show up now. Alright, it has not shown up so far. What happens if I copy this URL and I paste it in Chrome? Let's see what comes up. Okay, so this is the correct URL of the image. Do SVGs not work properly on... Ah, no, I see the problem. So I forgot to put the reference image as full screen here. So I'm going to do that now. Let's copy, let's say, for every scene that's not the player's scene for now. No, actually, I'll do one for each scene. So one for the commentator's scene, one for the game scene, and the players are down here. So now if I refresh, nice. So if I go to the actual preview, I get to see some cool commentators there. Oh, looks quite interesting actually. SVG worked perfectly. So let's get on to styling these commentators here. So I want the commentators... Where is this? Where am I styling the commentators? I think down here, but I actually want to grab where I define all this stuff as well, and probably put this to be the same. A lot of this stuff can be applied to pretty much every element in the overlay. This stuff here. So I'm just going to make it apply to the commentators at all times for now. Let's see what happens. Except, I think some of this stuff has to be different. Yeah. So what I'll do is, I'll make a new section here. Just to make the border color orange. And I'll add a bunch of stuff to that as well, and then I'll have a different section down here where I define the clip masks and whatnot for the player's scene. Sorry, for the in-game scene. And so let's make it so that this applies to all commentators no matter what the scene is. Is there anything else that I need to change? I think it should be all good. So if I save this, have a look at the preview now. So it looks like the commentators, the text align, sorry, the font weight is bold, and the text align is in the center. which is part of what I wanted. But I also wanted this to apply to it as well. So, and the background color as well. I mean, it should be working. So I'm gonna check what's going on with inspect element here. So the whole commentators section here, background color and the border color have been defined. Let's see what happens if I turn off position absolute. No, that doesn't do any. Oh wait, yes it does. It brings back the second commentator. Interesting. I have an idea. So I want it to apply to the whole commentators element for the game scene, but in the commentators scene, I want it to only apply to individual commentators, like that. So that's when the scene is not game, so that's like HTML not, when the scene is not set to game. Alright, so now let's find out where I was styling the commentators earlier, wherever that is. Here we are. So it looks like I've defined a width and a height, interestingly enough. Let's save and let's see how it looks now when I refresh. Okay, so it basically worked. The width and the height, probably not the way I want them to exactly look. Do the transitions work? Well, first let's have a look at the width and the height. Probably don't even want an absolute width and height anymore. However, I do want the top to be specific height, and I want it to be symmetrical as well, probably. So for the first commentator, I want the right value. I want the right value to be something like 33%, 35%, and for the second commentator, let's rename this to Last Child. I want the left value to be something like 35%. Or actually, more accurately, 100 minus 35, which is 65. Yeah, I want them both to be 65. So let's see how that looks now. If I were to refresh. Okay, there we go. We're getting somewhere now. Now we need to add a lot of padding. So where am I defining the commentators here? So I want to set this to something like padding and set it to probably like 37 VW? I have no idea. I don't really have a reference for how it should look. Okay, that's way too much padding. Way too much. Okay, and I want the left padding to probably be a bit more than the left and right padding to be a bit more than the top and bottom padding. So that means I'll go something like 2 and 4. Let's try that. That's looking okay. So I also want to add angles so that it can look a little bit more like the player names in the game scene. So let's do that, as well as finding out why the border top color isn't set to orange at the moment. So wherever that is. Multiple cursors. I'm not holding down the command button, please stop. Also, the positions weren't exactly where I wanted them to be either. So what about 60 and 60? I'm not sure if this is in the right direction. Yeah, that seems to be the right direction. Okay. Let's find out where I've set the border color to orange and why it's not showing up. Somewhere around here, I would think. Ah, it's the extra comma. It's always the extra comma that screws everything up. So let's save that. Have a look at it now. Border color is orange. That's good. Now we just need to add some extra padding and a clip path. So I want the right commentator to have a clip path. Yeah, I think I want the right commentator to have a clip path the same as the player names, or the rounds. No, not the player names, the rounds. So I'll grab this one. Actually, what I can do is grab this. Nah, I won't do that. I'll just grab the whole clip path because it's going to need to be different, I think. And I'll put this. Where have I been doing the commentators? Here they are. So for the second commentator, I want to have this clip path roughly and I want to put padding. Padding right, I want it to be quite a lot more than 4, so something like 6, maybe even 8. And here I want to do roughly the same thing for Commentator 1. Let's save this. Okay, so Commentator 2 is looking alright. The angle probably needs to be way more steep though. So let's fix that. I think it's like 25%. 25% will be a rough estimate for now anyway. So let's see if that angle's better. Yeah, nice sharper angle there, which is good. Now let's just do the opposite clipping mask for Commentator 1. Okay. Let's find player 1, and so this is the top left coordinate, which I want to stay as 0, 0, but the bottom left, I want that to be 25% here. And I think I want this to be 100%. Alright, I'll save that and have a look at the preview now. And there we have it. That's probably because I haven't changed the right value here to a left value. That's probably why it's looking a little bit more one-sided. So save that. Have a look at the preview. Cool. Yeah, that's looking not too bad at the moment. Maybe I'll put them to be a specific height instead of relying on padding. What would that height be, roughly? Hey, Mr. L, welcome. So let's just try different heights until something works. Something like 220? I'm just totally guessing here. 20 would be too much. Let's try 10. Save that, have a look. 10 is too much as well. So we'll probably go to inspect element here, just so we can adjust things on the fly. Here's the height value, it's sitting all the way down there. Something like 8 looks alright. Yeah. And then if I change the padding on the top, be something like 1. Then I could probably change the height to be a little bit less. There we go. Something like that. Let's go 6.5. That looks alright. So padding 1.4 and height 6.5. Save that. We're on the tag name basis now. Yep. No ambiguity. I gotta stop all the other Bens in the chat from thinking that I'm talking to them, you know. Ben, it's a pretty common name. Alright. So the idea is that I'll have probably the logo for the tournament in the middle there. What else can I do? So I also added, let's turn the scene switcher off. In the in-game scene, I added commentators in the top left. I'm still contemplating what to do with those commentators, whether they fit there or not. And I added a bit of transparency to the background of each element, just so it kind of blends in. I'm not sure if there's too much more that I want to do on this stream in particular. I'll take a quick break and come back and see if I want to do any more. For when I come back, do I create my own transition animations? Yeah, I do. So, actually I wanted to see whether the commentary transition works. It does. Cool stuff. Nice. This is starting to look alright. Look at singles. I'll probably have to call it there for tonight. Thanks for watching, Ben. And I'll see you hopefully in the next stream. Thanks to anyone else who watched. Follow the stream if you haven't already, so you can see more of this overlay. Zoom. Thank you, Ben. Switch clicks transition. Whoa. You mean like with the Joy-Cons when they click in like that? Because that would be quite interesting. I want to have it fit in with the theme of Ultimate and the Switch as well. So that's a pretty decent idea. So yeah, if you have any other suggestions of how I can kind of integrate Ultimate or the Switch, be sure to let me know. If that's what you mean by switch click. And yeah, stuff like opening up the stream and closing down the stream. You might want to have a cool transition. Alright, I'll see you later. Actually, I have 2 whole viewers. Is it worth a raid with 2 viewers? Wow, the chat is really delayed. The read screen and the logo. Well, I don't have a Switch anyway, so I'll have to find out what that precisely means, but thanks for the suggestion.